"That's very little to work on, Captain. What do you expect us to tell you?" Professor Ray replied unhelpfully. "I expect you to put your suit on and be ready to offer an opinion when I ask for it," Crow told him firmly before turning back to his holo display. "Captain, target is now coming up at the limits of our cameras," one of the sensor operators called out. Crow nodded towards him and the main holographic display. But whereas the others looked at the image of the approaching object, Crow's eyes flicked towards the small group of figures being projected in one corner of the display, which read "Computer Enhancement, 50%. The screen image wasn't much more than a best guess, as the computer attempted to fill in the parts the powerful cameras still couldn't make out. What they could see, however, answered some questions. The object was definitely something constructed. It also bore no resemblance to the design style of the other three known spacefaring races. The computer enhancement figure started to slowly count down as the object approached. "Curious," Professor Ray commented, looking interested for the first time. "It doesn't appear to correspond to anyone's design philosophies. You know, this may well be someone totally new." "Captain, we should back off," Copeland said in a sharp voice. "We are not equipped for a first contact situation. I strongly advise we leave this system at the earliest time possible. We need a diplomatic ship, not a warship. The regulations are very clear in this area." The part-time diplomat looked around defiantly as if expecting someone to leap up and start debating the matter with him. Crow suppressed the urge to frown at him. There was definitely something about the man that rubbed most people up the wrong way. But that didn't mean he was wrong. After the disaster at first contact, it had been decided that in the future, such situations would, wherever possible, be handled by specially formed diplomatic missions. However, the professionals hadn't done all that well with the early contacts with some of the Tampel star nations. "I know the regulations, Mr. Copeland. Thank you for your contribution," Crow replied flatly before turning back to one of his officers. "Navigator, how long till we cross the red line and can jump out of here?" "At present velocity, sir, we will exit the planetary mass shadow in just under 2 hours. The unbreakable nature of the light-speed barrier meant that for a ship to cross interstellar distance in real space would take decades, centuries, or even eons, depending on the intended destination. Jump drives offered a means of travel that would get a ship to its destination in a more practical time frame. When activated, the drive would form a conduit from one point in the galaxy to another that the ship then travelled along. These linkages greatly compressed the distance between 2 points, and while the ship's actual velocity remained low, the relative velocity was many times that of light. Thus, Einstein was neatly sidestepped, and starships could cross interstellar distance in days rather than decades. The system did, however, have certain limitations, the most significant being that no ship could enter or leave jump space while inside a gravitational effect known as the mass shadow. Caused by planets or even large asteroids, its size or depth was directly proportionate to the mass of the planetary body generating it. The planet Mississippi had been surveying was a third larger than Earth, and its mass shadow correspondingly deeper, which meant the ship was still a long way from being able to make its jump.